in the course of the day, perhaps with some cap to try and get under that luxury tax. They are trading back to Memphis, who moves up to 21. So when you look at Memphis, Ja Morant, we had Jaren Jackson here. Obviously, B-Wood, you think about Conley and Gasol, those days are gone. It's a new team now moving forward with the Grizzlies. Also a second rounder coming in this deal. Little, Cavangeli available. You got Fernando, Keldon Johnson, Brandon Clarke, Bol Bol. Those are some of kind of the next group. You got your point. Maybe you got your four. Where do you look at kind of here now for Memphis in this group?
I like Keldon Johnson from Kentucky. This is a kid that is competitive, works hard. I like the way he shoots the ball. He was another kid that we thought would be drafted a little bit higher, but I love his competition level. I like the fact that he can shoot the ball. I think he's ready to come in right away and help him. Keldon Johnson's the type of guy that I like in this pick.
I also like Cavangeli. You know, he's a sixth man, but he led Florida State in scoring. Dikembe Mutombo's nephew. He can block shots, 7'3" wingspan. I think that's another kid that might can go that direction.
Cavangeli, a guy, by the way, doesn't start a single game, still gets an all-ACC honorable mention, ends up leading the team in scoring. Andy, obviously, fit is part of it, but if I asked you best on board, and last time I asked you, you said Culver, and he was the guy. Give me best on board remaining now.
I probably would go Keldon Johnson. I'm a big fan of Brandon Clarke, but I don't know if that necessarily fits Memphis right here, but he's still available. Cavangeli, I think those are the three guys, if you were to say the best player available right now: Johnson, Cavangeli, and Brandon Clarke.
So can we talk about what's going on in all these draft rooms right now? Because the phones are lighting up because nobody knows who has what pick, and everybody's hunting a certain player. And you got Memphis going up 2 spots. What were they worried Boston was going to take ahead of them? How would they know? I mean, it's just like I've been in these rooms where you'll have 8 phones lit up with people hunting picks to where like the intern grabs it. I'll never forget one time it was like, hold on one second, Mitch, and they were like, Tom, it's Mitch Kupchak on line 9, but we were already in Portland. We had moved that pick and we're on to something else. It's just interesting to me what's happening in these rooms right now as the frenzy heats up for the immediate help type talent that's in this range.
I feel better now that Tom has told us maybe the GMs don't know, because certainly we're going to get crossed up at some point where, I mean, remembering who's got what pick, think about this. We saw 6 moved, obviously 4 with that swap that Atlanta made. You go to 20 that was moved, now 21 was a trade. 17 was traded twice. First from Atlanta to Brooklyn, then ended up going to New Orleans. There are 7 players left in that green room. All-time high 24 were in there. There are 7 remaining because of the surprises that we had. Cam Johnson, for example, and also Okeke a little bit higher. Brandon, when you sit there and you look at the Grizzlies, they've done a nice job kind of resetting because they're going to empty up some space and go with the core. They've got Jaren and they've got Ja Morant. When you look at a guy like Keldon Johnson, why is he a good fit as we sit now a minute away with those 2 players?
Well, Keldon Johnson is a good fit to me because he has a high motor. You want to bring a kid into that team that's young and that has minutes up for grabs right now. You want to bring in somebody that's a high motor from the perimeter, but at the same time has the skills to score and get it on his own. So I think you pair him up with a Ja Morant and what they already have in Jaren Jackson, and it'd be a good fit. And once again, we talk about Atlanta in the culture. You get Ja, you get Keldon, you already have Jaren Jackson. You have a bunch of young guys, very, very competitive. You set the culture, and then you allow them to take their lumps for a season or 2, and then eventually they grow into being a very good team.
Tom, take us into the war room. When you get to this point in a draft, how much is best on board? I mean, how much are you at that point? Are you looking fit still this
now
late in the first
you're
round?
a lot more fit right now,
okay.
and you're a lot more in a conversation with your coach because you want to draft somebody that your coach is going to believe in. Now, it sort of depends. If you're one of these, if you're a playoff team, that's what you're after. If you're more like Memphis here, just looking to get as much talent as possible, you may swing for more upside even here in the draft because you're not as worried about fit. You just want talent and see how it all shakes out, like you said. But how about Jaren Jackson? I mean, how about the brightness in his eyes when he was here? And
I thought it was his watch from here.
But you put him with Ja Morant, and they have this real identity now. Now, I don't know if they're going to pan out, but at least there's a clear direction, and he's an impressive kid.
Yeah, he is. I mean, the one thing you love about him is he has some size. He didn't come in as one of these big-time 5-star recruits. He worked And then also the one thing you love about him is he's my son's best friend. He stays with me. He works unbelievably hard. He was talking about him and Ja going to work out tomorrow in Memphis, and that's what you like about all young kids who want to live in the gym and love being in the gym.
So he's not working out tonight.
No.
I don't think tonight, but he's working out tomorrow.
Jared Culver
That's
apparently
only
is working
Jared-
out somewhere here tonight.
Jared Culver and his family, and Chris Beard hopefully go with that. There were a lot of people who thought that it would be perhaps Clarke and then Hachimura, but the Memphis Grizzlies going back to the old school Grizzlies because they go to a kid from Vancouver to find their way. A native of Vancouver, Canada, is Clarke, all Mountain West first team, and a guy who can really crash those boards. And when you think about it, Smitty, this is a guy who played in a lot of big games and was one of those, I'm going to go get you the ball if it's necessary and get those 50-50 possession balls for you.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he's a transfer here in Gonzaga. And Andy, for me, at the end of the year, I thought he became their best player. I'm not saying he is the best player, but I thought in the tournament he was their best player. He dominated on the offensive end. He rebounded. He blocked shots. He did a nice job in Gonzaga. I love the way he plays and love the way he attacks.
I wouldn't just say he was their best because he was also their most important player. He became the most important player for Gonzaga, I would say almost the second half of the season. The way he was their rim protector, the way he was a great rebounder. I mean, he shot, what over 70% because he was finishing everything around the rim. He sat out coming from San Jose State, improved his game dramatically. He's very humble. Speaking of that chip thing that we've been talking about where nothing was handed to Brandon Clarke. He had to earn everything. And so he's embracing this moment, and I know he's going to take none of this for granted.
Listen, that kid, when you watch him play, the first thing that pops off the screen is energy, 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 energy. He has his own energy. And you can't coach that. Everybody doesn't have it. Some players just wake up and they get out of bed and they just have that want to. And this kid definitely has that, and that's why he was so successful. I love the fact that he dunked everything with power.
We want to catch you up to date on all the trades, but we don't have enough time. I'll tell you this, the Celtics 2 picks ago traded one to Philly for 2 more that are coming, but they still got this one at 22. You cover all that? The picks continue to roll. Our coverage, 2019 NBA Draft, NBA TV.